Hey, what's going on, guys? Archer and Mark here, back with another Star Wars review. And this time I have one of the Star Wars comic book packs that I picked up recently. It's actually the second comic book pack that I've ever gotten. For whatever reason, I didn't get these packs when they first came out. They didn't always interest me, but I've sort of rethought them, and I've been seeking some of them out. And of course, some of them are a little pricey, so I'm gonna have to wait on those to find a decent price. But I did manage to find this fairly recently. So I got this. Of course, these comic book packs, they feature one comic book and two action figures, and this is from the Star Wars Infinities line of comic books. And you get a Darth Vader and a Princess Leia as a Jedi Knight action figure. For those who aren't familiar with the Star Wars Infinities, I managed to read these when they first came out. And what they are is they basically were sort of what if stories. They retold the original three movies, and it's like sort of slightly changed certain directions that certain characters went in and certain decisions that certain characters made. And it just gave you sort of a unique perspective on these classic movies that we've seen over and over again. It's kind of like if you had a fork in the road and you took the left fork instead of the right fork. One thing would change the course of the rest of the story, and they were just really interesting reads. And I would definitely say search these books out, try and find them if you can, because they're really fun to read. It's from we see these movies from a certain point of view, as one Obi-Wan Kenobi would say once. So of course we'll get a better look at the figures and the comic books in a moment, but we will show you the packaging. And the packaging on these is kind of bland. It's all like a black backdrop and little artwork. Obviously, this is where it looks better in the packaging. Obviously, this is where the comic book would be, and here's where the two figures are. But not the most exciting packaging, but still neat. With the contents are neat, that's for sure. So you see Star Wars comic books logo, Star Wars number 4. There you have the Darth Vader figure, and a close-up image of Darth Vader the way he appears in the comic, and Princess Leia, and here we have a close-up image of her. Okay. Now we'll turn it around, and you have on the back of the card back, you have some of the comic book art printed on the back, which looks really neat. Again, you see up here Star Wars comic books. You have the Star Wars logo. You have a close-up image of the two figures. And we got a little bit of a bio here, which I will attempt to read. I'll turn that off, it's too bright. The Infinite series explores tantalizing what-if stories about what might have happened to Star Wars characters if events had happened differently. In this tale, Princess Leia fulfills Luke Skywalker's dying words, "Find Master Yoda, train as a Jedi, and go to Dagobah." On the jungle world of Dagobah, Leia is shocked to learn that her father is the evil Darth Vader. Under Yoda's tutelage, Leia becomes a skilled Jedi, but faces a final trial. Battle her father in a lightsaber duel, and resist his attempts to turn her to the dark side. Okay. And we'll go down, and here's a couple other comic book packs that were released. This one looks really interesting, called The Hunt for Aura Singh, and two really cool looking figures on the cover there. Might have to try and find this one. Here's the pack that I'm reviewing here. And oddly enough, here is the other comic book pack, which I picked up almost a year ago from the Heir to the Empire comic book. Features a Luke Skywalker and Mara Jade figure. If you want to go on my channel and search for that review, feel free to do that. I'm sure you can find it. It was, like I said, it was last October when I did that review. So it's a little bit, I have to go on a little bit of a search, but a pretty cool pack in itself. So there is the packaging. And we're going to take a look at the comic book. So and you see Star Wars Infinities. Now this is actually from the Empire Strikes Back Infinities, even though it says Star Wars. See, Empire Strikes Back Infinities Part 4. So here we have Leia on Dagobah with Yoda, and she's training as a Jedi. And you see she's, gets her lightsaber, and Darth Vader shows up. And, fighting ensues, and there's a lightsaber battle, and there's really nice artwork on here. And you see this looks cool. And you get these sort of cameos from other characters, from Spirits, Obi-Wan, and Mace Windu, and even Qui-Gon Jinn. You'll see here in a moment. See, there's Qui-Gon, which is kind of cool. I'll show you this passage, and you'll see why when I show you the figures. So you see Vader getting unmasked, and you see young Anakin Skywalker at this point. So these are a real interesting read. I have to, when I get a chance, I should reread these, because they're really actually pretty cool. And even Han and Chewie, the Millennium Falcon, make an appearance. And it's just, and here's basically the end. Leia and Vader battling. Again, different from what we're used to seeing. We're used to seeing Luke and Vader fighting. And, it ended with the Empire, and then eventually, then of course, they went on to the Return of the Jedi Infinites, which, of course, was different from that movie. So there you go, and a couple of ads. So there's the comic book. And I'm going to take this, bring this over here, move that there, and we'll give you now a look at the figures. We're going to start with the Darth Vader figure. Okay. And, again, as collectors, we have so many Darth Vader figures, and there's not much different in them. This guy has enough difference to make him want to collect. It's not the best figure of the pack. Definitely the Leia is. But it's, you see the difference. There's a little bit of the McQuarrie concept Vader in here. A little bit, the helmet is slightly different. Some differences on the armor. See here, the forearm armor is different than what we're used to. Still very recognizable as Darth Vader, just a little different. You could see a crack there on the chest plate, and a little battle damage on the shoulder, as he does take some damage in battle in the comic book. So that's pretty cool. So go down. And again, it's all black, so not super detailed. The cape, we've seen a lot of Darth Vaders with cloth capes. This one has just an all plastic molded cape. And it moves pretty well, even for just a molded cape. One thing that I noticed as soon as I looked at this figure, look at the points and the way that the long flowing cape flows out, and the points. It's very reminiscent of a Batman cape, which maybe sounds a little odd, but really, if you think about it, it is. So there's Vader. Comes with a red lightsaber, which is obviously very trademark for Vader. Articulation isn't the greatest. Bone jointed neck, swivel shoulders, which is like ancient. A bulged elbow, swivel wrists, swivel waist, swivel hips, bulged ankles, but no knee articulation, which I just find very strange. They did They articulated the ankles, but not the knees. Usually we see it the other way around, if they skimp on the articulation. But that's the way these compact figures were. They were a little strange with the articulation. But, not the greatest, not the worst either. Okay, so I'm going to show you one other characteristic of this Vader figure, which is why I showed this in the comic back, is the helmet is removable. And here you can see that Anakin Skywalker facial sculpt. You got the brown hair, and it's something a little different. It's something a little interesting. It makes this figure maybe worth getting, because it's something it's a little different than what we're used to seeing. We've had removable helmet figures, but with like an old, battle damaged Vader. This is like a young face, like not very damaged at all, which is kind of unique. So do that. Put this back down. And I'll give you. Here's a close look up of the helmet. Okay. Put this down. I'm going to put the helmet back on. Now I'll give you a look at the Princess Leia figure, which is a much better figure. I love this figure. Again, the facial sculpt isn't the greatest. It's not the worst either. Again, it's patterned more after the way it looks in the comic, rather trying to make it look like Carrie Fisher. But, again, for whatever reason, and we've seen this with Princess Leia figures, they can't seem to get the female facial sculpts right. It's just that always something off. But this isn't bad. I love the outfit, the Jedi outfit on her. Much lighter colors, a little bit of a bluish color, which we're not used to seeing with Jedi robes. Now you go down. And nice, I love look at the pattern on the outfit on the back. Very nicely detailed. Looks really good. Again, lighter colors, little light browns, beiges. Like I said, the blue. And she has a blue lightsaber. Interesting hilt. It's sort of like Luke's lightsaber, but, slightly different. Okay, she has much better articulation, but still not the greatest. Ball jointed neck, ball and shoulders, swivel elbows, swivel wrists, swivel waist, swivel hips, ball-hinged knees, and ball-hinged ankles. So not bad, but the swivel elbows is always a killer on these figures. So, but again, better than the Vader figure. So without a doubt, this is definitely my favorite of the two figures. This was the main reason I wanted to pick up this pack, was for this figure. And it looks really nice. It'll go well with other expanded universe figures. So, but that's basically it. One thing to note again, both figures hold their lightsabers well. They both stand pretty well. The Vader, even without the knee articulation, the cape sort of helps kind of hold him up. So they'll both display pretty well, and obviously look good displayed together. You could pose them in like a dual pose, lightsaber dual pose. So that's pretty cool. Definitely a really cool pack. Pick it up if you could find it for a good price. Star Wars Infinities, Princess Leia, Darth Vader. Definitely worth it. Hope you enjoyed this review. And as usual, comment, rate, subscribe. And until my next vid, stay tuned and may the Force be with you.